Further ado, we're going to have a conversation with the man himself, Coach Jay Johnson. Don't want to keep him waiting. He has a big conference call. So I want to get him in, get him out. Coach, welcome back to the show. Congratulations on a great regular season. Congratulations on the sixth national seed. Congratulations to the fans who get postseason baseball at the box again. When you got, I'm sure as a coach, you kind of understand, you kind of know going into the selection show kind of where you're going to fall. And so at that point, just kind of watching and waiting to see let your players see it. What are your thoughts on, obviously, y'all coming in as a sixth national seed and then all the other teams that have regional hosts and national seeds? I think there's 6 out of 8 from the SEC, 8 out of 16 of the regionals are all from the SEC. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's a great accomplishment for our team, great accomplishment for our program. You know, second time in 3 years to be a top 8. There's like 320 teams that play college baseball. So feel great about that. I think it was very deserving when you look at the consistency that our team played with. Really only had one weekend where, you know, we didn't play well at Auburn, who obviously is the number 4 national seed. So they had something to do with that. And then as far as the bracket and all that, don't really think much about it. Just in terms of our league, I think there was no question that we should have 6 of the top 8 and 8 of 16. I think you can make an argument there maybe 9 should have hosted. So yeah, I think it's good. It's a challenge unlike any other, and you know we more than survived it, and excited to turn our attention to the NCAA tournament.
Coach, hold on real quick. Okay. Mikey kind of blew through it. Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, congratulations.
Good Lord.
Yeah, my bad.
It's a hard-fought season.
Yeah, well, listen, I was, I wanted to get to the questions. Yes, it's very, very hard fought, and obviously very, very well deserved. Obviously, I want to go back to the tournament just for a little bit before we look ahead. You know, we've had the pleasure of getting to know you, becoming friends with you, having you on the show for the last 4 years, and the one thing that we have obviously learn from you that every decision you make is made with a lot of thought and a lot of foresight and a lot of planning, right? Nothing's off the cuff. Nothing is emotional. Everything is thought out. And so whenever you decided to go with Cade Anderson and then throw Anthony Einstein right after him for the first time all year, the Twitter, I know you probably don't get on Twitter, but people were going nuts. They didn't really know what to expect. We talked about on the show about the importance of getting both of those guys time, you know, especially with the single elimination. You want to get those guys the innings and keep them kind of sharp going into the postseason. Talk me through that decision, because I know you came on the show, you had an interview after the game, and you said you had made this decision a week prior. Talk me through that decision and what went into that and having both of those guys throw in the same game.
Yeah, there was a few different layers to that. I did make the decision the previous Saturday night when we were coming home from South Carolina, and I actually talked to Anthony about it that day, and he had just pitched that day on Saturday because we had changed the rotation for South Carolina because that was best for those two guys. And, you know, with the weather situations that we've had, Friday to Thursday, we'd had a couple times where we'd bumped them up to 6 weeks. They both had thrown outstanding, particularly in the back half of league play. I just felt like we'd asked a lot of them. And, you know, if we're going to, you know, have the postseason that we want to, it obviously includes those guys being at their best. And so I made a decision that for their best interest, it was good to give them an opportunity to maybe cut down their load a little bit to help them going into this week, number one. So that they could be sharper, so they could be better for the NCAA tournament. Number two, you have to win the game at hand, the one in front of you, and we've used the 2 best pitchers in the country, and we only won 4-3. So that tells you how hard it is to win an SEC game. And I thought it was an important win, you know, relative to the postseason. I felt like we had done more than enough to be a top 8 national seed, but at that point, you know, it's really like, okay, you'll have 20 wins against SEC competition. We might be the first team in the history of the history to have 20 against SEC and not be a top 8 national seed. So I felt like that was kind of part of it. And really the big reason is where we're headed. And really felt good about some improvements some guys have been making. And I wanted to force a few pitchers, into or thrust them into an arena like the SEC tournament. We're playing a team in Ole Miss that is hotter than anybody right now and clearly capable of winning the national title, and force a few guys to go out there and get outs against them, and they did. And so I think that will be great for Jaden, for Chase, and for Jacob, and will make our team better going through here. And then kind of lastly was those two guys with the single elimination format, like they both needed to pitch.
Yeah.
And if let's say we didn't bring somebody else in and then we lose, I mean, now Anthony's throwing a bullpen at 9 a.m. on the mound at Hoover High, and that's not exactly, the preparation I want for
everybody on the bus.
Yeah, right.
No, and look, that's from our perspective, a baseball person's perspective. Like that's what to me, it was the right move, it was a smart move. It was the right move because it is the move that you decided on. That's why it was right. It was a thoughtful decision. And it worked out. Obviously, both guys got to throw. You allowed those other guys to get some time. I wanted to bring up those other three. Chase Shores has been throwing really well over the last month and a half. That's, clear. Jay Newt's been really good. He went out there. He looked really good. And then I think the wild card is Jacob Myers because he's got electric stuff. I mean, you had two guys in that same game touch 102 miles an hour. And gun juiced a touch, or was that legit 102?
Yeah, it just looked like nobody was going to put the bat on the ball from the dugout. I mean, it's loud stuff. And, there's something I think that gets missed is, guys are going to get better.
Yep.
Here. Like that's like a mandate of our program is that guys get better here. And those guys have put in an awful lot of work and an awful lot of time. And just because maybe they weren't perfect in an earlier situation, they've gotten better, and I think if you look at it like with Chase, I mean, he threw 18 innings as a freshman, missed last year. I mean, just because his name has been here for a while, he hadn't had a whole lot of hay in the barn as far as innings in college. And now I think the best thing that we did was start him and give him 9 weeks of extended work. And then now we've got him in a really good sweet spot for right now for where he's at. And it's really ticking up. And then frankly, the piece with Jacob was strikes, and we really just had some really intentional training stuff that we did to get him on track, and he's gained some confidence, and so there's a little better conviction, and the delivery's a little bit better and more aggressive, and now he's throwing nasty stuff, in this, and good for us.
Yeah, Coach. Good for y'all. Great for y'all. You talked about those three guys, two guys that did not throw. Were the two horses, obviously, that have been out of the bullpen all year, and Case and Evans and Zach Cowan. That was obviously intentional. Did you feel like they needed a little bit more rest going into the postseason?
Well, there's twofold thing. I felt like, again, like Cade and like Anthony, we've asked a lot out of those guys, and if they didn't pitch last weekend, I viewed it as a positive for getting them dialed in. For this weekend, just like those other three, I felt like needed to pitch.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it, the fact that they did. Now, if Josh Pearson hit a homer and it was 2-2, one of them would have gone in the game at that point in time. If we'd have played Sunday in the championship game, the other one would have pitched for sure. Probably would have started the game, to be honest with you. There was a little bit of strategy with what we had left for the tournament, with what we had to do with, Cade and Anthony, or what I decided to do with Cade and Anthony. And then the other part was like, we've asked a lot of these guys, they throw strikes, so you're never worried about that. They had a good competitive bullpen on the main diamond today, and they look great and ready to go. And so I think it's just one of those things that probably worked out the way it was supposed to for the betterment of those guys.
Coach, I just kind of want to give this guy some flowers. We've been giving him flowers all year. Ienson's been lights out all year. You put him in a situation where that he hasn't had to do all year, right? Comes in, gives up. First guy ambushes him. First pitch of the game, hits a line drive. Stanfield will tell you he needs to catch that ball 9 out of 10 times, I'd imagine. Doesn't catch it. Guy gets to third base, triple. Finally got a call go your way, right? A little borderline call that usually over the course of the last couple of years, you feel like those little borderline calls go the opposite way.
That's when you see Jay
guys running in the grass, finally gets the call. So kind of like sets the, kind of brings down the level, and then Ianson goes, absolute just lights out and gets out of the inning.
Check swing, bunt,
right? Yeah, like gets out of the inning in a situation that he hasn't had to encounter all year. I guess just talk about how special he's been. Obviously the talent is there, but the mindset, it just feels like when he's a killer on the mound, and that's just what it looks like.
Dog.
Yes, he's a dog, for sure. No, he's great at a couple things. He's a great pitcher. He has all the velocity, movement, location, change of speeds, all of that. But he's amazing at two things. He's amazing at getting better as the game goes along, and he is the best pitcher I've ever had at getting himself out of jams. And he's a real competitor. And you think about that situation. I mean, it's a man on third, no outs. I mean, the odds are they're going to score one,
right,
in that scenario, which would have tied the game at that point. So, I mean, we get the little dribbler deal, and we throw it down to first. And I think you failed to mention the great challenge by the coach.
That was a great challenge.
I don't know what Mikey's on. I guess leaving room for me to say that. Another congratulations, coach. Good challenge.
I'm just kidding. And the main reason I did it, obviously, was not necessarily like, oh, I saw it, but it's like, hey, if we get this, not only is it out, that run has to go back to third base. And their guy was like fired up, crossing the plate. He was yelling at me like as I was walking around. Like, well, let's just wait 30 seconds and see what the video replay has to say. And then, I don't know what happened on the next one. Like, I don't know if they missed a sign on this, if it was a suicide squeeze or safety squeeze. But, you make a mistake there, and then Anthony just took over and punched the next dude out. Yeah. So that was cool. I mean, and I will say, like, the environment at that game on Friday night was electric. That was awesome. Like, we had a good run last year and had some good crowds and those types of things, but it was nothing like that game on Friday night. And great win. It was a great win, and we got accomplished in that game what we wanted to. And to your point, Anthony he's just a great competitor and winner and great pitcher and doing a great job for us. And obviously it's been a key reason, one of the key reasons why we've had such a great season.
Coach, moving towards the regional, obviously here in Baton Rouge, y'all are playing the day game. That's something that everybody talks about. Oh, it's
Jay Johnson.
Jay Johnson loves the day game.
Johnson.
You're not the only coach ever to come through LSU and play the day game. I know Skip did that back in the day. That's something that you decided to do while you're here, which obviously worked out in 2023. With Anderson and Ianson both throwing Friday and having that full rest, obviously you're not going to tell us who's starting. I don't blame you. But, based off of matchups, does that give you the flexibility of saying based off who you like matchup-wise against the team that you're playing currently on Friday and potentially playing on Saturday, does that maybe give you a little flexibility on who you could start on for the first game?
Well, that was also, and I mentioned this in the media Thursday, I don't think I mentioned it, that was also part of the decision to have them both throw on Friday this week, was to give us the option, and we're in the very infant stages of figuring that out. I'm looking at our first opponent right now, about 3 games into that, and then we'll see. We'll move on to the other 2 and see how this thing matches up. What I do know is everybody that we're going to play from this point forward is good, and so you have to put your best foot forward for that game, but you want to design it in a way that gives you the best chance to win and get out of the weekend. I think you take each game as it comes, but there's also strategy to it. And, last time we made a decision that you guys apparently let me know nobody agreed with in pitching.
Skeens, a pretty close game. Needed him.
Yeah, but it worked out okay. I got a nice little trophy there in the corner of the office here that says that was okay to do that. But every team's different, every year's different, opponent's different, and so we want to be deliberate. And I wanted to just have flexibility to do what was best for us this weekend. Is honestly more important than last weekend.
Yeah, Lloyd.
Coach, obviously looking ahead to the regional, you don't want to look past anybody, but having a team that you've played before in your regional, does that help or hurt you in any way whenever you have a Dallas Baptist that you saw Great scheduling by you, by the way. I'm gonna give you. Look, I'll do it if Mikie won't. But you've seen Dallas Baptist before. Does that help at any point if you think that you'll be able to face them?
Maybe. You guys have heard me say this. I think young players change day to day, let alone 2 months from now. I mean, that game seems like it was a million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's weird dynamic where the season just like flew by, and it flew by because we got great players. They're great people in the program. I really enjoyed coaching this team. So time usually goes fast, but in terms of where we were as a team, what's happened since then, that seems like a million years ago. I mean, they're one of the best programs in the country. Like, that's what they are. And you're just not going to get a deal where, oh, wow, we got this great draw of like somebody that doesn't deserve, to be here. And everybody's earned their way here, and they're no different. And they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of arm strength on the mound. They have big bats that can hurt you with power. And we have to execute pitches. We have to continue to play great defense and execute offensively. So it is what it is. I don't know that game will carry a lot of weight in terms of we know something that will help us in this. I don't see it that way. It's too long ago.
Yeah, this is going to be a layup for you, but I'll give it to you. How important was it to be able to lock up a top 8 seed, be the 6th seed, and be able to host a regional at Alec Box?
It's a big deal, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
Doing 2 of the last 3 years, and we actually did it the last year at Arizona. So, like, to be a top 8 3 times in the last 5 years is awesome, So hopefully we'll turn that into a third trip to Omaha over a 5-year period. And it means so much to everybody here to be able to play at home. Like, it's really cool when you get in there. Like, I'll remember that opening game against Tulane, in 23, like for the rest of my life, throughout that whole run of going like, wow, it's 1 billion degrees out here, and these people are loving every second of it. Like, I hope they drink at least 1 water for every beer so nobody passes out dehydrated, or anything.
There's a lot of water in the beer, Coach. They'll be fine. They're hydrated.
Yeah, so I think it's awesome, and our park, as you guys know, is special when it comes to postseason play. And man, we almost got back here last year for the Super Regional, and I mean that was one of the more disappointing things of losing that game with the lead in the 9th was not having that opportunity to play the Super Regional here. But proud of our team. It's a great accomplishment. Happy for the fans. Happy for everybody. I mean, next weekend, being in that stadium, it's the only place I ever really want to be.
Yeah, Coach, that's the only place we want you to be because we get to watch it. We're going to be there next
Lifetime
weekend.
Contract.
Congratulations again on a great regular season. Obviously, now you're in the postseason, and congratulations on the 6th national seed. We're looking forward to this coming weekend, and hopefully the weekend after that, and the weekends after that. So, congratulations. We appreciate you again, always coming on here and taking time. Enjoy the conference call. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of important stuff discussed in a little bit, but we appreciate you, and we'll see you this weekend and talk to you next week after you win.
Have you checked the weather?
Yeah, keep me updated on the weather.
All right, Coach. See ya.
All right, see ya.